everyone, it's Shar. Welcome back to my channel. Happy Sunday, or happy whenever you are watching this, but of course I am uploading on a Sunday. Today's video is a little bit of a weird one because, for some context, last week was Summerween and I have been doing nothing but reading spooky books and watching spooky movies and spooky videos, and I have fallen down the Loey Lane rabbit hole. Something that I have been really having a lot of fun with are her haunted videos, haunted side of TikTok videos, and of course glitch in the Matrix videos. Now, for me, to give you some context for this specific build, if you don't know what the glitch in the Matrix conspiracy theory is, the basic premise is that we live in a simulation, and sometimes the simulation is a little bit buggy, has some glitches, has some things that are happening that should theoretically be impossible. So there's a lot of iterations of like what a glitch in the Matrix could be. For example, duplication, or your reflection doing things that you are not doing, planes standing still, or birds completely flying in midair, but they're not actually moving or going anywhere. It's just a bird glitched into the sky, things like that. But a version of glitch in the Matrix is this creepy idea of the backrooms. Now, let me preface by saying I don't actually believe these things. For me, it's just like fun entertainment. But the backrooms is this concept that there are lots in our reality, places in our reality that are technically, quote unquote, unloaded. So if you can imagine walking into like a grocery store and you're able to walk in, all the lights are on, you grab your cart, you start to go shopping, and you quickly realize every single shelf in the grocery store is empty. All of the fridges are empty, all of the aisles are empty. Not only are they empty, but you are the only one in there. If you're a glitch in the Matrix conspiracy theorist, you will start believing that you have entered the backrooms. Now, I wanted to build this in Sims 4 because I thought that it would be funny because the basic premise of the Matrix is that you live in a simulation, and of course the Sims 4 is a simulation. Do your Sims believe that they are in a video game? Maybe not. So I thought it would be really fun to try to create backrooms in the Sims 4, and the whole point of backrooms is that they should defy reality. So I have like a waterfall that is flowing from the middle of the room, but not from anything else. It's not connected to anything. It's literally a freestanding waterfall. You have a lot of debug objects, creepy haunted dolls, seance circles, things that are glitched through the floor, through the walls, defying gravity. It should feel very maze-like, so I put a lot of walls, a lot of unfinished walls, unfinished floors, windows into nowhere, a billion doors that lead into nowhere. For you, it's not as scary because obviously you can see the entire floor plan, so you know exactly where everything is and how it's working. But if you put yourself in the mind of your Sim who has ended up in this space and this room, what would they be thinking as they saw giant dolls, a waterfall that was flowing from nowhere, a plane glitched into the ground, a car smashed into the wall, and windows that look out into nothing but a sea of blackness? That was my emphasis. So maybe play this in first person mode if you wanted to walk through it. So this was a lot of fun for me because this is essentially a chaos build. It is supposed to be messy, chaotic, confusing, buggy, glitched. I still want it to be functional, so you'll see that I'll play test periodically as I am building. So my Sim will go around and I'll make sure that she can access certain rooms, but there are certain parts of this build that she can't access, and I did that intentionally, and I think that it's really fun. So for example, one of the waterfall room, right? Your Sim can actually walk into the waterfall. They can't walk super close to the waterfall either. And my lore behind that is obviously it's a waterfall, so your Sims can't do that. That object doesn't work that way. But my lore behind it is that there are some parts of these back rooms, while your Sim is confused and disoriented and unsettled, there are some parts that are so disturbing, so creepy, so eerie that your Sim wouldn't even dare to go near them. So if you encounter some of those while your Sim is walking around this build, know that that is the case. And if you download this build, you do need to have BB that move objects on, because these are not only placed with cheats, they're placed with a mod. It should still work when you download them, but make sure that you have your cheats on so you can have things positioned the way that they are intended to be. I even put this plane in the hallway. It's not even like able to fit in the hallway. You just can tell vaguely that it's a plane and the rest of it is outside. I have a pirate ship that is sunken into concrete flooring, half between concrete and sand, and glitching through walls. But a lot of this build is honestly me scrolling through the catalog. I cut a ton of that out of this video. This was a 2-hour build for me, and you're watching a video that is less than 10 minutes long. So that should tell you how much I sped this up and how much I cut out. But I left certain parts in because whenever I build, I think that it's important for me to show you like what that process looked like, what I'm thinking about, what I'm actually doing, what I'm erasing, and what I'm spending my time doing. So I cut a little bit of me scrolling through the catalog. So you have like decapitated doll heads, a debug baby, a crib that's sinking into the ground, windows that show you the void, doors that lead to nowhere. Now there's no room behind the doors, so your Sims won't actually walk out of them, so don't worry about it. But I'm just trying to make this feel like if your Sim was walking around, what would creep them out the most? For me, my personal favorite part of this build is the island living room, specifically because of the window that you can look out of and you can literally see fish swimming in a black void. That is absolutely my favorite part. I think that that is so much fun, and that would be so creepy to see if your Sim was actually walking around here. And this is a fun build, not only for like the creepy factor if you're trying to tell a scary story, but for me it's part of the lore of my save file, and I'm telling you that now because I'm sure I'll forget that I mentioned it. But throughout these videos, throughout my save file speed build videos, you'll get a fuller picture and story, and there will be a record that that is what I intended it to be. Now the rest of this build is kind of an afterthought. I will 100% be honest with you. My intention was always to build the back rooms, right? To have a glitch in the matrix for your Sims who are into the spooky stuff, or perhaps for your Sims who are just unfortunate enough to have glitched and ended up there, or for your Sims who are conspiracy theories and who actively sought out the back rooms. So the rest of the build, it turns out to be a graveyard, and I have the mausoleum where your Sims can enter the back room. Again, the lore behind it is that most Sims won't want to go into that mausoleum, and if you didn't watch this video, you would have no idea that it was there. Although if you didn't watch this video, you would have no reason to download this lot either. It will be on the gallery, but my save file is honestly gonna take a long time, and The Sims 5 will be out by then. So this is a private save file meant for me. I'm just showing you the builds, and of course you can download the builds off the gallery. My gallery ID is in the description of all of my videos. So yeah, graveyard. It is not my comfort build. I've never built a graveyard, but as I was building, I was thinking about lore, and I thought something that would be really fun is that if these coffins were empty and if the graves actually didn't have any bodies in them, because these are actually debug coffins, debug graves. Well, I think some of the coffins are for vampires, but debug's graves, statue graves, they're decorative, some of them, and most of them are just like from the base game debug. And I thought that it would be really interesting and really fun if this graveyard was an illusion. And what I mean by that is that there are actually no Sims buried here, but people in the Sims world don't know that. To them, this is a graveyard. In fact, someone is actively going out of their way to place flowers at the graves to make it seem like people are being visited. But in reality, there's no one buried at this graveyard. These are just decorative gravestones. People are not related to anyone in this graveyard because there's no one here, although no one knows that. And the story behind that, and the reason why I'm telling you this, is that your Sim would have no reason to visit here. They do not know anyone who was buried in this graveyard. There's no reason for them to go here unless they are specifically looking to get up to some trouble and just sneak into a graveyard, has a dare or something. I don't know. Or if they're just bored and happening to walk around, something like that. So that is my story behind this. It is completely an empty graveyard. It is a facade. Someone is very actively trying to make this appear that it is an active graveyard, although they're not doing a great job of caretaking, so loosely taken care of. But I thought this was so much fun, and I'm really having a great time with the building lore aspect of my save file. I know I've done a couple of creepy builds. I promise you, they won't all be creepy. They won't all be haunted, but I wanted to make sure that each and every world had some of its own, like, creepy lore behind it. So with that said, we are coming to the end of this video. I mess around with terrain paint here quite a bit just to hide like parts of the build that I'm not happy with, but I'm not familiar with terrain paint. It's not something that I'm great at, and for this graveyard I decided to make it a national park just because a national park only has 2 requirements. You can see that I like shrink a picnic table and I shove it into a tree because even though there's no one buried here, I didn't like the idea that you were picnicking literally on top top of graves, so there's no place for your sim to sit. It's not a place where your sim should come and want to sit, although I think that this fountain actually does have a seating functioning into it. And then the grill, the trash can, and that is essentially the end of the build. As always, thank you so much for watching. I know that this is weird and definitely not for everyone, but I had a lot of fun building this, and with that said, I will see you in my next video. Bye!